For all the talk about flagships and their latest and greatest chipsets and cameras, it's easy to forget that many people still buy mid-range phones. Today we have Samsung's latest Galaxy A series devices, the A34 and A54. They have somewhat decent specs, but they're not mind-blowing for the price. I mean, Samsung isn't very well known for providing value for money, especially at this price range. You know who is? Xiaomi. Its latest mid-ranger is the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. It's just as cheap as the A34, but it comes with features that even the A54 lacks. But which one provides the most performance for your buck? We're going to put these three to the test. We're going to try them out in typical daily use, play some games, and put them through their paces on benchmarks. Let's see which one's best. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The Samsung Galaxy A34 is priced at 1,599 ringgit. And for that, you get a MediaTek Dimensity 1080, announced in October last year and built on a 6nm process. It has two Cortex A78 cores clocked at 2.6 GHz and 6 Cortex A55 cores clocked at 2 GHz, along with the Mali G68 MC4 GPU. The Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus may come with a lot more features for the same price, but unfortunately, extra performance isn't one of them. It too uses a MediaTek Dimensity 1080 chip. The Galaxy A54 uses something different. It has Samsung's own Exynos 1380 that's built on a 5nm process and uses 4 A78 and A55 cores, plus a newer Mali G68 MC5 GPU. On paper, the A54 has the performance advantage, as it should, given that it costs 1,899 ringgit. All three phones come with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage, with the Samsung phones also getting a micro SD card for expandable storage. On Geekbench 6, the Note 12 Pro Plus brought up the rear with a single-core CPU score in the 900s and a multi-core score in the 2300s. That's a little lower than the A34, which had a single-core score of over 1,000 and a multi-core score of over 2,400. With identical high-performance cores, it's no surprise that the A54 has a similar single-core score, but its multi-core score was much higher, peaking at over 2,800. But what does all of this mean in the real world? Well, not much actually. All three phones have enough firepower to breeze through everyday use, something you definitely notice thanks to the smooth animations on these 120Hz AMOLED displays. Sure, there are some stutters, but they don't happen as often as you'd expect them to be at this price, and generally there isn't much of a difference compared to a flagship phone. So what exactly do you lose out on by going for a low-spec chip? It's the little things, like the fact these phones take a little longer to boot up. The Samsung phones need around 36 seconds before you can start using them. The Redmi is actually quicker, taking around 32 seconds. By comparison, an iPhone 14 takes around 26 seconds. Shutter lag is also much more visible, especially on the A34 and A54, and the Samsung twins also lose out on a key new feature of One UI 5.1, the ability to lift the subject out of a photo, which is exclusive to the Galaxy S and Z series. But you're still getting the full One UI experience. You're not using the stripped out One UI core like on the Galaxy A04, for example. Of course, the real sacrifices happen when it comes to gaming. Loading screens are longer, and you can forget about playing Genshin Impact at 60 FPS for extended periods of time. Although it is remarkable that these phones can handle the game at max graphic settings at a lower frame rate, albeit with quite a few drop frames every now and again. Of the three, it's the A34 that fared the worst, often stuttering when you're just moving the camera around. You can briefly get close to 60 FPS if you dial the graphics to the lowest settings, but it's still not a particularly enjoyable experience. The A54 did slightly better, managing to deliver more consistent frame rates. Its problem was thermal management, which was often so bad that not only did the phone get hot to the touch, but it also made the game sluggish, and it even crashed on occasion. The Note 12 Pro Plus did surprisingly well. Unlike the other two, this one is pretty much 30 FPS only, but it did so happily, even at high graphic settings. It chugged along for hours, barely getting warm to the touch. Wreckfest was a different story. All three phones struggled with this game, and cranking the graphics to 11 made it so sluggish it was practically unplayable. Here is the Redmi that performed the worst. The game was a wreck. Haha, get it? Oh, I should get a life. Sorry, the game was terrible at anything other than the lowest graphics settings, and even then, it was stuttering all over the place. Not great. The A34 wasn't much better, but it was at least more consistent, and I was able to bump up a few graphics settings so the game didn't look so shit while still hitting 30 FPS. Picking the winner out of a very bad bunch wasn't easy, but ultimately the A54 was the best performer when playing Wreckfest. It could just about maintain 30 FPS at medium settings, but nothing more. Again, the thermal management was poor, but you'd have already quit the game by the time you ran into issues. At the end of the day, it's no surprise that these mid-range phones didn't do so well in games, especially Wreckfest. None of these devices use the popular Qualcomm Snapdragon chips, so most titles aren't fully optimized. The good news is that they fare well enough that you can occasionally play games, and this is pretty much as demanding as titles get. So if you're just playing puzzle games on your coffee break, these phones can handle them just fine. Most importantly, these phones are fast enough for daily use. The Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus punches above its weight here, especially with its thermal management. And that's before you get into the extra features, like the 120 watts fast charging, which can fully charge the phone in 19 minutes. It is important to remember, as always, that Samsung phones offer 4 years of major Android updates and 5 years of security patches. This is still the best in the industry, and is something that only now is being offered to other flagship phones. You'll be lucky to get 2 Android updates with the Redmi. Ultimately, I can't tell you which is the best one of this trio. You'll have to decide which one suits your needs. But as far as performance is concerned, at this price range, you won't feel shortchanged with any of these three. Thank you so much for watching this performance comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A34, A54 and Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. What do you think? Do you agree with what I said? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and ring the notifications bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. As always, stay awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.